Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and I'm delighted to be welcoming Padma Shri recipient Dr. Sudhir Parikh ji. Namaskar, Dr.
Namaskar, namaskar everyone.
So I'm meeting you after a long time, and I appreciate and thank you for accepting my request. And I think it is a historic moment for India lovers. It is happening for the second time that the same leader would be leading the nation as prime minister in the third term. Let us look at the way we reach where we are, election results, and I am aware, as well as many of our viewers are aware, that you have closely worked with Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji even while he was Chief Minister and even before that. So, first off, based on the exit polls, what people were expecting, as well as Char so par, what we heard, and the results, there is quite a substantial gap. What do you read in this gap?
Well, I don't think, I don't read much in that gap because usually the exit poll and the opinion poll, there is a difference. Usually it shows only trend of the results, not the really exact number of seats and everything. So that way, I think all exit poll was showing that BJP lead Gathbandhan will win and will have over a majority of 272.
So basically, the general image that Prime Minister Modi have, not just in India, as far as certain media is concerned, but among NRIs, including you and me here, we hear from many people that they feel proud that there is a respectable acceptability of India, and economically also India is doing well. So what do you think worked in favor of opposition and something that Prime Minister Narendra Modi missed while he addressed 206 rallies?
Well, as you say, that Prime Minister is very known or well known for his economic development, infrastructure development, his international standing as a leader of the world and leader of the India, and also helping the lot of even lot of industries and a lot of poor people even. But I think what the strong showing of the opposition party is because of they all got together and they stick to two or three narratives, and one is a lack of the or job or increase joblessness, unemployment. Number two is people were kind of worried about inflation and also worried about their day-to-day life in the particularly in the rural area. And third thing is I think when the Prime Minister says that will win with the 400, over 400 seats, and some of the BJP leaders during the election campaign said that yes, we will win, and that's so we can do the research or some adjustment in the constitution, and that kind of backfire because opposition ran with that answers of the certain leaders without permission of the Prime Minister. And that kind of stuck to the particularly the Dalits, OBCs, Ati Pichda, and those people. They always believe in this constitution and the power given by constitution to them, particularly the reservation and other benefits of the reservation.
So back to what you just mentioned, and as you are aware, in addition to addressing 206 rallies, he also, for the first time, I think, made a record by giving nearly 80 interviews. And some of the references, which probably we will also be discussing, this particular one also was raised in front of him, to which he responded by mentioning the way first Prime Minister, then Indira Gandhi, and how Rahul Gandhi and the Congress have their approach towards respect for the constitution, and he tried to clarify. But we are looking at it from analytical point of view. So, do you think comparatively lesser known as a leader like Arun Govil or somebody makes a statement that stays longer than the explanation given by Prime Minister in building the perception?
Yes, I think it's like anything else. I mean, any news or any comment initially done, and if that comment is you keep hammering to the people all the time, then people remembers that rather than its explanation later on or clarification later on, and that's what happened. And I think probably the timing was a little late. Before that, almost 3-4 phase of the election was over, and I think that could be one of the reason why opposition got a very strong number of votes.
So that is one aspect, and we will look at it from both sides. Just few of the points. What Rahul Gandhi mentioned about giving free money and the expression which became which went viral, like khatakat khatakat, and quickly he'll remove the poverty, etc. And many people were considering that this will not be perceived as a sincerely made statement. Do you think that somehow also resonated with people?
I think so. Particularly in the poor strata of the families, it does, because anything somebody gives free, whether it's a revdi or it's a real help or genuine help or not, but that sounds very tempting, and then they really follow that, and they want to make sure that they gets it. So I think so. It's probably it did percolate all the way down to the lower level on the ground.
So there are some constituencies where BJP got zero votes, though the beneficiaries, of course, reside in those constituencies also. There are certain other factors that came into play that includes, of course, religious divide was enhanced by statements from both sides. How do you see moving forward if we look at it from the point of view of the importance of a strong opposition for a healthy democracy? I think the results are good and a good statement for India's democracy.
I think strong opposition is always good, and this shows that even in India with this kind of 1.4 billion people population, the democracy is very alive, vibrant, and kicking, and the people are kind of very much aware of it, and they exercise their vote accordingly, and it's a good thing in long run, because what we want is a democracy in the country, and what we want is a strong opposition. So whoever is governing can govern with the consultation, and they govern with the little kind of suggestions and a little concern. I mean, not worry, but can follow the things. So because they know that somebody is watching it.
So let's look at two main aspects, and of course there are n number of references which are relevant here, but breaking down in terms of emotions and economy. So emotionally speaking, the Prana Pratishtha Samaro of Ram Mandir at Ayodhya, we here felt some vibrations that this is a major historical development which has taken place. But BJP, having lost in that part also, gives some sort of a way to reconsider about the emotional issues playing their role in casting of votes. How do you see performance of BJP in Ayodhya, and overall, was there any role that this Pran Pratishtha Samaroh of Ram Mandir played?
Well, I think for any issue, any narration, or any event has a certain life, and if something is happened quite early in the year, so it happened in end of January, and election is in the almost in the end of April. So I think it's a big gap of 4 months where people kind of in the when it happened, everybody was very enthusiastic. Everybody wants to go to Ram temple because we all the majority of the Hindus believe in Ram, and it's a great thing. And it was beautifully constructed temple after 500 years of not having that temple for Bhagwan Ram. And I myself visited that Ram temple, and it's beautifully done, and it's magnificently done. But again, the people after a while they connect with the Ram temple as a personal faith, but they cannot connect. Sometimes they cannot connect the Ram temple with the voting issue, and because of the time lapse, and because the time always always heals everything, or time always you forget everything, and people have short memory, and they get into the other emotional issues, and this temple issue kind of has not much meaning that time.
No, staying with the emotions and sometimes what is said, how it will affect on the ground, maybe something that only time tells. But the way Congress position and probably BJP's statement, or rather Prime Minister Modi stand in the gradual pathway of election cycle, uh, made Congress as a favorite for Muslims. And so there was a sort of a consolidation, and there was reference of Congress being pro-Muslim and willing to give reservation on the religious basis, to which Prime Minister Narendra Modi opposed. And so there were certain references where he was bringing the mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. But in some way, it was kind of making Muslims identify more with Congress, and probably moving towards the other direction from BJP. Do you see that also played a role in the kind of results that we have?
Of course, it did play a role. Not only Muslim, but even the Dalit and Pichda and Ati Pichda, they also kind of connected themselves more with the opposition group as compared to last election or election before, because I think they got scared about this that somebody will take away their rights of reservation and so forth. And so that narration, whether it's right or wrong, opposition become successful in explaining and percolating all the way down to the ground level, and therefore I think that also has one of the factor which got BJP less seat than what we all expected.
So, in general, while I speak to many Indian Americans here, and probably you also come across people who appreciate Prime Minister Modi's leadership skills, his way of connecting with the world leaders, as well as the way he communicates, whether it is Pariksha Pe Charcha, or he's addressing bureaucrats or whosoever. So that is one side of his personality and respect, etc. And add to it overall good performance of India on GDP, and recently also 8.2%, plus that emotional side of getting 100-ton gold back from UK, etc. But as a voter, probably you are more concerned about what is happening to me. And in that context, connecting with this, I think still some small business owners are not happy with the way GST is playing out, or they still hold grudge against this government for having demonetized the currency. Do you see that also have played a role in this election?
I think so, because I heard that a lot of even economists are saying that the way the GST is designed is it's kind of very uneven, or it's very kind of not, I mean, according to the small businessmen, it's not fair to them because their businesses are not that high volume businesses, and that affects them more because they had to pay that money kind of back. They cannot use that money for their own business development or business expense, and they have to give it back to they are collecting for the government and give it back to the government. So I think probably they should revisit GST factors, GST slabs, and lower some percentage of the GST for the small and upcoming businesses as compared to the big corporation.
And now, considering the approach of Prime Minister Narendra Modi with reference to issues like Agniveer scheme, that also probably was not received well by certain group of people. But as far as the larger India as a whole is concerned, these small issues probably made a difference. And yet, let us give credit to Prime Minister Narendra Modi for being the face which managed to get 240 seats for BJP alone, which is more than the total seats that coalition India has. Now, looking at what probably worked good for BJP in spite of being lower than what they projected and what was expected.
Yes, I mean, of course. The BJP got a little less number of seats as compared to what we all expecting to get. But again, you see, any election, doesn't matter which country you are in, India or USA or Europe, always in economy is always stupid, in a sense that when the people are affected by joblessness and an economic aspect of GST or economic aspect of their day-to-day life, usually they always kind of react little unfavorably, and they forget the good thing about a person, good thing the Prime Minister has done, several good things he did. They forget that and they remember this economic hardship and so forth. And I think that is true for any country, any election. And so I think that might be one of the factors which played the part in this low turnout or low number of seats for BJP.
So there are 2 points, Dr. One, the whole election was solely based on the brand image of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Looked like earlier the Congress had one poster, "Main nahi hum." So from many years, the image that is emerging is that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has a sense of I which overshadows others. And probably that also played some role adversely for the BJP. Allow me to add, many leaders were confident of their victory based on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's credibility and popularity among people. I think something has diluted over a period of 10 years now. Perhaps then there is a need to reinvent BJP.
I think so, because always any charisma, any kind of magic of the person, doesn't matter how good, excellent that person is, how much magic there, but with the time, everything kind of fades away. And so we have to, person has to keep maintaining that their charisma and their kind of magic of being a person who helps everybody both economically and socially. That has to be continued, and that's only way people will remember and people will kind of support.
So there are a couple of areas where Prime Minister Narendra Modi's approach and Congress approach is different. One of them is Vikas bhi Virasat bhi. Very briefly, what he's saying is that we are pro-development, but we are going to pay respect to the cultural heritage of the land. and that you see him at various important historical and culturally profound places, as well as the development of like Varanasi, that corridor, and Ujjain, etc. Uh, Perhaps in the scheme of political things, the way they are, uh, opposition managed to give certain image where they many voters did not identify with the emphasis on virasat or cultural heritage of India. Do you see that is also one of the channel in the decisive factor?
Yes, yes. I mean, can be one of the factor in decision making, and it's very obvious. So I think again, bottom line is that quite a few factors which played in the whole thing, which gave us a little low number of seats as we more than we expected. But I think we won the election, so whoever wins is a secondar, right? That's the saying. So I think BJP won the election, so there will be a Prime Minister Modi's government, and Prime Minister Modi and his party won the election, so he is a secondar, and that's all it is. And
Yeah.
so we must congratulate him, we must support him, and we always vouch for him and his good work. Jai
Absolutely.
Hind.
So I think this is the angle that one could see coming from the expression of Prime Minister Narendra Modi while he was addressing party karyakartas, and the vision that he has communicated. He reiterated that, and one reference which was mentioned in the letter that he wrote while coming back from Kanyakumari to New Delhi, that we have to do away with negativity, and the positive vibes sort of was underlined by him. And many people see him as a role model in terms of a source of inspiration for them. So now I think he will also do introspection, and he'll come up with fresh ideas. And overall, I think we move towards a better India. But still, it will be not as strong a position of Prime Minister Narendra Modi as it was in the last two tenures. How do you see, is it likely to have some sort of impact in terms of India's foreign policy or India's image, global image, etc.?
Well, it may not make big difference in the foreign policy or image outside India, but it will make some difference whenever he wants to take some bold initiative decision because of the thin majority, or because of the kind of coalition government. There is a compulsion of the. They say there is a compulsion of the coalition, and so certain thing you cannot do, certain thing you can do, or certain thing you have to modify to do. So that's rules of the coalition government, because we have to respect all the parties involved, and that's what happens. But if you have pure majority, strong majority of your own party, then you can make any number of daring decision, whether people will accept or not, but you think is the correct one. So then you can make it and then explain to the people of India, and they will agree on that.
So, as we conclude our conversation, moving forward as NRIs, how do you see the new way of working with Indian government, or the kind of bridge that many Indian Americans have, and they have a lot of ideas where they want to support, etc. That would continue the way it was with the new government also, or will there be any change?
No, I don't think so. It will continue as it is. I mean, let me give our own example of ITV Gold. Every day we broadcast live Doordarshan news in English and Hindi, morning and evening, and we are giving literally a great platform, complete platform to the government of India and its its policies and its action, and we become in de facto spokesperson for government of India here in North America. So that's one thing, and we all particularly first generation Indian American, we are so much kind of obliged by our government back home in the past, because we trained there, we studied there with the government help and subsidiaries, and we came here, we become successful, but we should not forget our Mother India and always try to help Mother India. As I can tell you my personal contribution to the Mother India, that in early 90s when in the US Congress the things were not going good for India, that time we had one organization called Indo-American Forum for Political Education, and what we did is we tried to promote US-India relation that time, even after 32 years ago, 35 years ago, and we convinced two congressmen, one Congressman Frank Pallone of New Jersey, and late Congressman of New York Gary Ackerman, and both got Padma Vibhushan for their effort to start the India Caucus, which had 200 members, and this caucus is a Friends of India. So any resolution, any concern, and any help Indian government or people of India needs from USA, they are ready to help. So this kind of thing we all should do, whatever we can do, but our goal should be help our motherland, because we have passion for it, and we have concern for our motherland, and so we should tirelessly keep working for it, and make sure that our other friends join us to work for the Mother India.
Absolutely, and that love for Bharat is always underlined with the chant of Bharat Mata Ki Jai by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he or BJP portrayed or presented itself as pro-Bharat party, and they were not that much appreciative about the other parties, and there were many issues. And as we move towards the concluding part, there were apprehensions raised by opposition even before the results were declared that there could be some mix-up in the EVM machine, or Rahul Gandhi having said that if there is a match fixing, there will be fire, and similar statements which will kind of borderline of threat coming from Akhilesh Yadav also. And there were reports from the other side, Dr. Parikh Sahab, that some Israel-based tech company was working with artificial intelligence to dissuade messages which were pro-BJP. Now, that needs to be investigated, or whether there will be any investigation or not. That is one side. But another side is, you probably came across many, many viral videos which were not just criticizing, questioning the approach of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, referring to him as dictator, etc., etc. Do you see these things have also somewhere played a role in the kind of results that we have?
Yeah, but this thing always happens in the large democratic process, and so it's a given kind of thing that other countries, those who doesn't like, or they have some different agenda than ours, they always do this kind of thing, and then we don't have to worry about it. We only thing we can do is we educate our people and explain to them that they do not take those kind of things seriously, and they should filter them out, and then try to digest after filtration.
Absolutely. And as we conclude this conversation, there's need of reinventing, rethinking, and there is additional energy towards the opposition parties of India. And overall, I think there is going to be a fine balance and checks and balances moving forward for the government. From your point of view, there are some people who are very much disappointed by the results. Some people are very, very jubilant. What would be your advice? How maybe some of our viewers who were totally disappointed and they were up whole night waiting for the kind of result that was shown by exit polls, what would be your advice for them?
No, I think, I mean, I understand their emotional attachment to their liking. And even myself personally, I was up yesterday night till 3 a.m. in the morning because I wanted to see that conclusion of the counting. And I think I saw almost till end. So, so I think there's nothing wrong in it. I think I would encourage them, and it's three kudos for them that they are so much involved emotionally and intellectually into the democratic process of motherland.
Wonderful. So I appreciate for accepting my request, and I thought we have discussed Indian politics so many times, and it will be good to get your insight and share it with the viewers of ITV Gold. And once again, I congratulate you for your also a part in sharing the glory of this third term of Prime Minister Narendra Modi with your own contribution from this part of the world with your love for Bharat. So thank you very much,
Thank
Dr.
you. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm sure our viewer will enjoy it.
So thanking Dr. Shah and thank all of you. Namaste.
Namaskar.